Welcome everybody, Scott Joseph, J&L Marketing, NADA booth 3266C in case you want to stop by. I am with David Boyle here, Tire Profile, CEO.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Good.
So we initially met through the TEDings and his Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah, we did.
Great events.
Yeah, fabulous.
You and I were having a conversation recently, and you're talking about fixed ops, where the industry's headed. You had an interesting story that I think everyone should hear.
Yeah, you know what we do, obviously. I mean, we're trying to help dealers penetrate the tire and alignment market. You know, it's a segment of the business that they've just got to get better at. You know, those wear item things are what's left, tires, brakes, batteries. Dealers haven't had a great market share. You know, they're single-digit market share for 20 plus years, and it hasn't gotten any better. And the story I was relating to you was, you know, I've got a good friend of mine who runs arguably probably one of the largest aftermarket chains in the country, East Coast, 1,400 locations. And I was having dinner with him a couple of weeks ago.
And by the way, 1,400 locations nationwide.
Yeah.
Let's face it, those are the type of people that are stealing a large chunk from dealers, correct?
You know, one of the things I said in my TEDing presentation was I said every dealer should do this. They should get at their desk, they should get to their iPhone, you know, with location services turned on. Just Google tire stores near me, and there's going to be tons of them around the dealers. That's not by accident, Scott. These guys are putting their aftermarket stores right next to dealers because they know that for decades dealers haven't wanted to do tires, haven't been good at it, so they're getting their cast-offs and they're happy to have them. But you know, the question I asked this guy was, you know, he's CEO, publicly traded company, $3 billion company, I think, and I said, you know, what are you worried about? And he didn't hesitate.
And this is great. This is great.
He didn't hesitate. He said the dealers, which I was surprised, actually, you know, because you know, I've spent the better part of my career trying to help dealers get better at this, and dealers struggle with it. But he said the dealers, and I asked him, I said, why? And he said, you know, they're eventually going to wake up. He said the other side of their business, selling cars, meaning is continuing the road, and it's going to, you know, with the electrification, simplification of vehicles, all the things that are taking some of that work that we've traditionally had away, it's going to get to a point where these guys, the pain is going to get so great that they're going to be forced into action like they never have before, and they're going to wake up. And he said, if they do, we're in trouble. Because he said the dealers have better people, which they do, we know that, and they got deeper pockets. So they'll be able to implement change, implement technology, which, you know, we're obviously a big proponent of.
Well, you know the other advantage they have? Now I'm thinking about it, especially against big chains, big national brands, they're going to move slower.
For sure.
All right, so the independent, the dealer who might have 1 to 4 rooftops, 5 rooftops, if they're forced, because all of a sudden the pain gets so bad to make a move, they can do it like that.
Well, the other thing they've got going, most of these customers are still going back to the dealer for other things. They're just not going there for tires.
Yeah.
I mean, at the TEDing thing, if you remember, one of the data points that I had, you know, my company scanned over 25 million tires on cars, 25 million.
Yeah.
A lot of data. When we analyze that data, over half of the vehicles in that data, in dealers, are over 4 years old. You know, the extended powertrain warranties and things like that, these customers are coming back to the dealer longer and longer, but they're not coming back for some of that gravy customer pay work. And that's on the dealers. They're letting them get away. They're there. We have to stop them from heading to the aftermarket, and that's what I think he was saying when he said, look, that's what I'm worried about, right? These guys are going to get smart. They're eventually going to say, look, and I can't just let this piece of my business run away from me forever. I need it now more than ever. And, you know, like he said, and he said they've got the wherewithal to compete and really make it difficult for us. And I think he's right. You know, I think the dealers, this is right for them. And, you know, there's been, over the years...
So much opportunity.
There is. And over the years, there's been some of these catalysts, you know, when the dealers, for years and years, when we were, well, Jim Press said it at the TEDing thing, you know, warranty used to be 80% of the business, and now it's 20% of the business.
Yeah.
You know, that change caused dealers to rethink their business, and they started to rethink customer pay like they never have. And I think there's another change coming, and that's around tires and brakes and the things that are the volume things that are left. It's going to take another pinch point like that to get the dealers to really wake up, take it seriously, look at their businesses, change the way they do things, adopt some technology, hopefully for the benefit of my company, but really get serious.
You know what? Tell us, give us a little insight on what is the things that make your company unique? What are some of the things that you guys bring to the table that can immediately help a store?
So, we started off in the business of creating some technology to sort of scan and analyze the tires. So we were sort of in the measurement tire business. We pioneered that space. We got products with lasers and software and stuff that measure the tire. We've, at the show here actually, this year, we've added a brand new product called Traction. We just launched it.
Nice.
People in our booth, it's been great. And we've sort of taken that next evolution and says, okay, we're measuring tires. What's the next thing? Well, they need help selling them.
It's Traction with an X.
And with an X, X marks the spot. So we said, the next evolution in this is we got to give them some tools to help them sell more tires. Just measuring the tires half of the equation, and we looked at the tools that were out there, and quite frankly, we said they need an upgrade. And moreover, we did some research. I mentioned this when we were talking the other day. We did some research, consumer research. First time in my career I've ever actually paid to have some independent research done, and learned a lot. And one of the things I learned was the customers are looking for some fairly specific things that today dealers just aren't equipped to do, but they could be, because they're not hard things. It's just knowing really what the customer wants, and that's what we tried to build into Traction, with some tools to help dealers really provide the consumer what they want. So we've created a tool that is all about education. It's pushing information to the dealer. If we recommend an alignment, why? And there's tools out there that want to talk to customers about toe and caster and camber. People don't know what that stuff means. No. Okay, they want to know what are the repercussions of not doing an alignment.
Right.
And it's bad gas mileage. It's wearing my tires out prematurely. It's the things people get that impact them personally.
Can I get 3,000 more miles on these tires?
Right. Exactly. So we need to be able to provide some tools. We felt we need to be able to provide some tools to help service advisors do a better job. And the other thing that was, and this is really the last thing, the other thing that was really important was, I've been in this business a long time. I recognize service advisors are one of the toughest jobs in our business, man. It's a tough job. These guys get a lot of stuff thrown at them every day. And at the end of the day, if we built a tool that was going to make more work for these guys or make their job harder,
it never
wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So we had to approach this from how do we make it easier for them?
Yep.
And the easiest way to do that, and by the way, it's what the consumers told us they wanted, was to engage the consumer at a higher level. Empower the consumer, give them information, give it directly to them. And we have a saying, over at TPI now with Traction, we say, listen, we want to put the consumer in the position to buy the tire from the dealer rather than be sold to.
Yeah.
And it's subtle, but it's a major difference in philosophy and process. It's more suited to what the service advisors are good at anyway, and it's what the consumers want. They want to feel empowered. And one of the other things I talked about in my TEDx presentation was the impact of Amazon on everybody's business.
That's
and
correct.
Everybody was talking about it.
They've
Brian
trained
Benstock,
us all how to
they
shop.
have. Brian Benstock was talking about it. All the guys were talking. They've really reset the expectations of what shopping needs to be about, and we need to learn from that. Quite frankly, we need to give dealers tools to allow customers to shop for what they sell, in this case tires and alignments, the same way.
Yeah.
So we push this information right to their cell phone via text message, so as soon as they arrive and once the tires have been scanned with our products, customer gets a text message. It's very informationally rich. It talks to, they can look at videos, there's content in there explaining to them in layman's terms what is an alignment, why should I pick this tire versus that tire.
All the information that if they wanted to research, you're basically making it very quick and easy for them to see right then and there.
Including even competitive pricing, which is a key piece of this, because one of the things I try to tell dealers is, listen, they are going to shop you.
Yep.
They are, because tires are a commodity in many ways, and price is not the most important thing. In fact, the research we did showed it's the third most important thing, but it is up there. And the dealers, first of all, I want to set the record straight. You do not need to be the cheapest. And dealers try to be the cheapest with these buy three, get one free things. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the cheapest, but you also can't be twice the price, is what I tell people. And the only time they are priced twice the price is if the customer is shopping apples and oranges. And what I mean by that is they come into the dealer, the expectation of the dealer, as it should be, rightly so, that you get the factory recommended tires. So you come in, you get a Mercedes, you recommend a Michelin, and it's a couple $100 a tire, and then they go to an independent tire shop and they get quoted something that's $100 less. but it's some knockoff brand that's not clearly a Michelin. It's a 20,000 mile tire versus a 40,000 mile tire. And I mean, if you gave the consumer that information, they'd make the decision to buy the better tire all day long in most cases. But they don't understand. You know, it's round, it's black, and it fits my car. They think it's the same, and it's not. And all it does, if we don't empower the consumer and give them information, the dealers give them information.
And the more information they give, it's considered more value. I mean,
right. And if we don't give them the information and they make these sort of apples and oranges comparisons, all that does is perpetuate the misnomer, quite frankly, that the dealer is more expensive.
Right.
Because they aren't.
Right.
You know, when they are, like I said, it's because the customer's not comparing apples and oranges.
And when I say value, I think that's defined a bunch of different ways, right? So good service,
right?
Being transparent, providing all this value, making it easy for the customer, so they don't have to go to this site, this site, this site, this site, and figure all this out. Spend two plus hours or more trying to figure it out.
Put the information right in front of them,
and they value that and they appreciate that. So that gives you, the dealer, I guess, a much better
Exactly. And the more communication you have with the customer, then the dealer gets an opportunity to leverage what they do have, which is, the other thing. I mentioned my conversation with the CEO of this aftermarket company, and one of the other things that he said to me was, he said, he said, David, they've got beautiful showrooms and cappuccino machines.
Yeah.
We don't have that stuff.
No.
And customers do appreciate that stuff. And again, they don't appreciate it at twice the price.
Right.
But they will pay a small premium.
Yeah.
And again, but if you communicate to the customer why, and the convenience and shuttle rides home and loaner cars and all the value adds that dealers do provide, if you properly position those things and communicate and give the customer that information, the dealers will win this business back. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some change.
All right. You guys saw it here first. David, awesome job. Thank you.
Good to see you, buddy.
All right,
Thank
you too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.